Hey folks, it's Jeremy Whaley here, and I want to talk about some major changes that are happening in the way that we create income. And this is stuff that's going to happen for the next 10, 15, 20 years, and it's going to impact everybody. So if you are any age that you are right now, if you're over 70, if you're under 30, this is going to impact you. It doesn't matter. And to help you understand this a little bit, I want to reference a book that came out many years ago. It was a book called Who Moved My Cheese? And I don't know if you ever read this book or not. It was a great little book by a guy named Spencer Johnson. And he talked about these two little mice. They were, I think it was Sniff and Scurry, if I remember right. And they used to go through the exact same maze every day, same pathway to the same pile of cheese. And they were big, fat, and happy because they always had cheese, right? And then one day, the cheese was gone. And Sniff and Scurry, they were freaking out. They're like, what are we going to do? All of our cheese is gone. And they kept going back. Same thing every day, expecting the cheese to be there. And the cheese was gone because it had been moved. And so the moral of the story is that things are always changing. And if you don't adapt to the changes, then you get left behind and ultimately go hungry. This book, even though it's probably 30 years old, it is as relevant today as it has ever been because of some of the changes that are happening. And if you don't adapt to these changes, guess what? You're going to get left behind. So I want to share some of this with you. And this has been happening through our entire life. You may not realize it. So I'm going to bring some kind of awareness to you right now, but changes are always happening. For example, back in the 1970s and 80s, if you were an executive, you didn't type your own papers. You would usually dictate like into like one of those little micro cassette recorders, if you remember those. I used to have one of those. And not because I was an executive, but because I like playing with recording devices. But you used to dictate in these little cassettes, and then your secretary would listen to it, and they would type out your letters and papers and stuff. In fact, very few executives even knew how to type. It wasn't considered a skill that executives needed. Fast forward just a few years, by the early 2000s, it's the opposite. Almost everybody can type. In fact, you know, people like me, we grew up learning to type in high school. And by the time the internet came out in 1995, well, it came out before that, but 1995 is when America Online, exploded and put the internet in everybody's home. By the time that happened, you had an entire generation that could type, and suddenly the internet became something where we all were using it, and typing became a necessity. In fact, if you're an executive and you couldn't type, you were considered behind. And so just, a few years, total transformation of this little skill of can you or can you not type. And today, of course, everybody can type. In fact, writing cursive is considered weird, but typing is a norm that almost everybody can do, even kids who never took typing. Well, in 2015, I had a major epiphany that kind of started me down some of the roads that are going to lead to what we're going to talk about in this video. And I'll tell you a little bit of story. At the time I was running a business, we were doing a large chunk of money, and it was an online business. And this business, of course, because it was online, it required a website. And I thought it was a fairly sophisticated website. My business partner thought it was fairly sophisticated. And so our very first site, we did manage to put it up ourselves. Actually, my business partner managed to put it up. But very quickly, we started hiring people to build our websites. And unfortunately, I never liked these websites, but they went on for years and years. In fact, at one point, we had two people that were full-time employees. We were paying almost $200,000 a year in salaries to build websites and update websites because we thought we couldn't do it. And in 2015, I had an epiphany. And my epiphany went like this. I'm going to put it on the screen for you. I had this epiphany that in the future, everyone's going to need to be able to build a basic website in order to be relevant. And I equated this to typing way back then. Way back in 2015, I was like, you know what? I think I better learn how to build websites. And by that time, we had WordPress and we had all these different tools that made it much easier to build websites. And one weekend, I decided I'm going to start learning how to build websites. And guess what I did? I actually learned a new skill set. I did it in less than a weekend. And fast forward a little bit through a long story of events that happened. We let one of our web guys go and we never noticed it. We ended up letting the other guy go, and we outsourced it to India for a little while. And that was pretty cool because for less than price of one person that we were paying a full salary for, we were able to get a whole team of people in India to build our website for us. And that was really cool. We were like, wow, this is amazing. But fast forward a little bit more through a weird series of events, we couldn't keep up with the guys. They were actually working so fast in India. And I had this idea. I said, you know what? I think I could build a website. And I built a website that became our primary website for our business. It was all WordPress based with all the membership details and everything that we needed. And we ended up we ended up saving $200,000 a year that we were spending on these web programmers, all because I learned to build a website. And that was more than 10 years ago now, or I guess right at 10 years ago. And I've never hired somebody to build a website since. It's become a basic skill for me. And here's the thing, today, it's a basic skill for anybody. I mean, between WordPress and Wix and all these different tools that are out there, ClickFunnels that make it so easy to basically drag and drop, build websites, anybody can build a website. And so it's super, super simple. Okay, this was an epiphany I had 10 years ago in 2015. Fast forward, it's 2025, I've had another epiphany, and 10 years from now, we're gonna be looking back. I'll probably be doing a video just like this, and I'm gonna say this. And here's what the epiphany is. In the future, everyone will need to own their own business. Everybody's going to need to own their own business. You're going to be in business for yourself. And specifically, these businesses will be running with automation, AI, artificial intelligence, and outsourcing. Okay, so let that sink in. In the future, everybody's going to have to learn how to run their own business. And those businesses are not going to be the kind of businesses that you're used to, not necessarily brick and mortar stores that, have all these high accounting overheads and inventory and all this crazy stuff that most people associate with business, but rather they're going to be 1 or 2 man operations, and you're going to be able to run almost everything with automation, AI, and outsourcing. This is the future, and it's happening now. Let me share some stuff with you that you may not realize is happening. Did you know with AI today, right now, 2025, and it's just getting better and better, you can do all of your video editing and repurposing. Now, if you were to take a video like I'm recording right now and actually go in and really do deep editing, you might need an editor for that. But if you were to just take a complete video and say, I want to cut it up into repurposed videos for social media, we can do that right now with AI. It takes less than 5 minutes to execute. You don't need a team to do it. I used to have to pay people to do this kind of stuff. And today we can just execute it just like that. And it looks as good or better than the team of the people that were doing it for us. Copywriting and sales content. We can do all of this with AI today. Social media content. You can do 99%, if not 100% of it with AI today. Graphic design. I'm kind of on the fence on this one. I don't always love some of the graphic design that we get with AI, but we can certainly get way, way down the road with it. And moving forward, it's going to become even better as AI continues to get better and better and better. Here's a crazy one. I never thought I would say this: voiceovers. I do a lot of voiceovers. I do a lot of videos, of course. And, this is something I'm kind of like, wow, I can't imagine we would ever outsource voiceovers to AI. But guess what we can do now? There are AIs that are out there that will mimic your voice. So I could mimic my own voice. We give it a script that has been written, in some cases by AI, and it will record the script and it will sound exactly like me voicing my own videos, but done with AI. This one's real, by the way, just in case you were wondering. But we can do it. That's the cool thing. You can do market research. These are just some of the things that we can do with AI today. And what it means for you moving forward is it means that a 1 or 2 man business, that's literally all you need. You by yourself, or you and a partner, you and a spouse, a 1 and 2 person business today can do the work that it used to take 20 to 30 people in terms of a staff to do. We can do that now with AI. The people who are going to be getting ahead in the future, and this is the big shift that's happening, it's not going to be that the AIs are necessarily replacing jobs, although there are many jobs that will be replaced with it. But the people that are going to get ahead are the people that know how to leverage AI. There will still be plenty of work out there. There'll be plenty of job opportunities. There's never an end to the opportunities that are out there. Okay. But if you want to be able to do that, you're going to need to learn this new technology. And here's the thing. It's so simple. I was afraid of it. I was really afraid of AI because I'm not a computer programmer. I have all these limiting stories and beliefs about what it would take to do AI. And now that I've gotten into it, I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I actually think we could start building AI to do some more advanced things, like some of our trading algorithms and things that, I used to think there's no way we could ever do this with artificial intelligence. I've totally shifted. I'm totally on the other side of that now. And it is absolutely incredible. And so when you think about something like a small passive income generating business, a micro business, as I call it, these are easy now, which means you have no excuses. You have no excuses to not do it. There's no excuses to miss the train. And especially if you are, let's say under 70. If you're over 70, maybe you don't want to take the time to do it. But if you're under 70, then you really have no excuse to not do it because it's so easy to execute these things now. You don't need to operate for years in the black, in the red, like, old business models used to do. You can be in the black and be operating at a profit within 30 to 45 days usually. And there's just so many opportunities now. And here's the cool thing. It's easy. It's really quite easy because of all the tools that are available. So if that sounds interesting to you, this is some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about in my Income Engine Incubator. You've heard me talking about it for the last couple of weeks, and I would love to invite you to join me in this. More importantly, why don't you go check it out if you haven't done so already, and then schedule a call, and let's get on a call. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about you and your aspirations, what you want to do, what your dreams are, your financial situation. If you'd like to add some extra passive income, you'd like to create some micro businesses that you could spin up and, let them pay you. If that sounds exciting to you, then let's get on the phone and let's talk about it. It fits right in with your trading. It fits right in with your real estate investment. And for many of you, this is not just how you get out of your 9 to 5. This has to become your future 9 to 5, because if you fast forward, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, the 9 to 5 you're doing right now, there's a good chance it might just get replaced by someone using AI. And so you want to get ahead of that, just like him and Haw had to get ahead of, Sniff and Scurry. Him and Haw were two other characters in the book, but Sniff and Scurry had to get ahead of Who Moved My Cheese, just like executives in the 70s and 80s had to learn how to type if they wanted to be relevant in the 2000s. Just like in the mid 2010s, we needed to start learning how to build websites. Now we need to learn how to do AI. We need to learn how to build these micro businesses, because this is the future of the economy moving forward. So if that's interesting to you, click the link below. Go check out the Income Engine Incubator and click to schedule a call. Let's get on the phone. Let's talk about it. Let's see if it's a good fit for you. And if it is, then let's get you in there and let's start incubating some income engines for you. All right. Thanks for watching. I look forward to talking to you next time. And until then, I wish you the best. We'll talk to you soon.